What's up, everyone? Jackson Galactic here, and today I'm bringing you my Zorga Nadir deck profile for April 2026. This is my Zorga deck, faded one of Taboo Zorga Nadir deck profile that I've been working on. I got to where I wanted it to be, but I'm missing a few cards for it, so I'm running some placeholders for it. But yeah, this is Zorga. So for the ride deck, we have the Energy Generator, of course. For the grade 0, we have Disaster Slipper. For the grade 1, we have Record Chain. Act Vanguard Circle on turn, so +1. Draw 2 cards, then discard an order card. If you can't discard an order card, you discard 2 cards instead. Pretty good. For pretty good draw power. Most of the time you have an order card to discard, so you shouldn't have to discard 2. Discarding 2 other isn't an issue for the deck either, since you want your stuff to discard anyways, so it doesn't really matter. And then one Black Tier House Dragon for our grade 2, which allows you to add a when it's placed on Vanguard Circle, you add a order card from your drop to your hand, which again is really good for recycle power for your orders, since you need orders to alchemy magic. And then obviously one copy of Faded One of Taboo Zorga Nadir, which is a really good card. Along with the one in the ride deck, we run 3 in the main deck for Persona Ride. And what this card does is contains Vanguard Circle. When you play a normal order, you can choose one of your normal orders with a different card name from your binding zone and alchemy magic, which allows your opponent to play both orders, combine their cost, and play both orders at the same time, which is just kind of the deck's gimmick. You can also have the actability, whereas active Vanguard Circle once per turn. You blast 2 and bind a normal order from your drop zone. Choose up to 2 cards from your drop zone, call them the Rigor Circle, and they get power plus 5k for each order in your bind zone. And then, but they get retired at the end of turn, which is really good for like calling back your useful units that you use a lot. Mostly like units like Harvest Elf, which I don't have copies of Harvest Elf right now, so I'm running something else instead as a placeholder. But yeah, normally you call back Harvest Elf or like the grade 1 that boosts your Zorga, and then its divine skill is auto Vanguard Circle. When this unit attacks a grade 3 or greater unit, you can Soul Blast 1, choose a column, and stand all Rigors in that column, and then at the end of turn, they get retired. So it's kind of like a good way to get like a 4th attack in the deck, which doesn't really come up too much. I don't like the Divine Skill personally, but it's useful for some cases, I guess, but I personally don't like it. For the last grade 3 in the deck, we're running 2 copies of Marine Prison Dragon. I'm only running 2 of this card because once I see one of it, I don't ever need really more than 2. So once I get both in the drop zone, I can be caught for free pretty easily with the with my alchemaging. So like I don't really need more than 2. So I only run the 2. And what it does is when you alchemagic, when you play an order card, you call them the Rigor Circle, and they either get power plus 10k or critical plus 1. But the alchemagic, they get both. So there's a 15k 2 critical beater, which is pretty cool. But yeah, you only need 2. I don't understand why people run 4 of it or 3 of it. I only ever need the 2 really. Then the same thing with that. We're running 2 for grade 2s. We're running 2 copies of Abomination of Impending Karma. It allows you to call itself when you at the your turn. If you have a Zorga with Divine Skill during your battle phase, you can call it the Rigor Circle from drop zone. And then it also gains. You can also Engine Blast 4 and bind an order card from your drop zone to get power plus 5k for each normal order in your bind zone, which is pretty cool. And then, if depending on your battle phase, if you have a Vanguard with Zorga's card name and Divine Skill, and you alchemy magic, you can call it the Rigor Circle with a critical plus 1 into end of turn, which is pretty cool. I personally prefer the Roman Prison Dragon, but this card is pretty cool too if you have a lot of orders bound. It's pretty useful. Next up is 3 Carrion Crush. This card is very useful for the deck. This card is very useful for the deck. What it does is hand and drop when you play your Vanguard with Zorga's card name with Divine Skill attacks. If you do not have a Rearguard with the same card name as this unit, combat Swarm, retire a Rearguard and call this card the Rearguard Circle, which is pretty cool. And for each normal order in your bind zone, this unit get power plus 5k, which is really good. He depends on free caller, which is really cool. And then he also has an auto skill when at the end of the battle he attacks a Vanguard. You can combat 1 and bind him to choose a normal order while regardless piece in your bind zone and add it to your hand. So it's kind of like your way to get back your orders that you bind in case you want to reuse them again. That way you can always have the Aqua Magic every single turn without fail. Which, again, is pretty nice since you're always binding orders, getting them back with this card, and then keep doing it over and over and over again. Super nice and useful. For the last Great Twin deck, we're running 3 copies of Shadow Cloak. What it does is when you place it on a regular circle from hand, you can search your deck for up to 1 order card that doesn't have a. You can search your deck for up to 1 order card, and if you don't have a 1 in your drop zone with the same name, you send it to drop zone. If you do, you add to your hand, which is pretty useful. The second skill doesn't even matter since that one almost never comes up. You probably want to use it for dumping orders to drop zone since you only play 1 of each order anyways. So it's really just the dump orders. The second skill doesn't even matter. For grade 1s, you're running 2 copies of Fairy of Condolence. What she does is continues during the battle. She boosts it if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Zorga in its card name. She gets power plus 5k. When this unit regular circle, when this unit boosts a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Zorga in its card name, she gets power plus 2k until the end of that battle. And if your bind zone has 2 or more normal orders with different card names from each other, you choose one of your rear guards to get power plus 10k at the end of turn, but it gets retired. So she pretty much becomes a 15k booster when she's boosting Zorga. And then she can also pump up your Roman Prison Dragons up to like 25k before Persona Ride or any other trigger effects, which is super cool. And then she's one of the units you only call off of Zorga skill, so she's even bigger usually to help you boost up Zorga's numbers. Next up for grade 1s, we're running 2 copies of Philander. What it does is when you place it on a regular circle, from hand, you stick the top 5 card of your deck, and you discard the card from there. So it helps you get any 1 card you want from your deck, which is pretty cool. And then if your drop zone has 10 or more cards, he gets power plus 10k. So it's kind of like an 18k booster, which is pretty cool. In the late game, since you want to discard a bunch of your cards from your deck anyways. So pretty cool. And this kind of is a really weird pick, but I like it. We're running 2 copies of Spoof Shade. The reason why I'm running him is because he counts as an order card when you playing the cost of an order. So since I am running a copy of Gather Upon Me, You Want to Soldier to have discard an order for, he can count as the order I would discard from hand, so I don't have to actually discard an order. If I don't have an order, if I have him, I can discard him instead, and he can kind of just provide that order for me, which is pretty cool. That's all he's in here for, just to kind of cheat out the Gather Upon Me, You Wandering Souls. So I can kind of keep my orders in hand and kind of just discard him. And since I don't have, what's the card called? Harvest Elf. I am running 2 copies of Barrel Mushroom as a placeholder for Harvest Elf. It permits itself into Soul and calls 2 plant tokens. And it kind of because I need soul. Sometimes you need Soul in the deck to perform the Divine skill. So it comes up sometimes. It's not really useful, but I like it because it kind of replaces Harvest Elf for not being until I get one. This is a placeholder. And then obviously we're running 4 Perfect Guards because I don't have an extra copy of Elementaria. So Perfect Guards works fine. If you want to change one of them out for Elementaria Sanctitude, that's fine. I just don't have an extra one in the deck currently. For the orders, we're running 1 copy of Rousing Grasp. What it does is you can play this card with Con +1. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Choose up to 1 card with grade less than or equal to your Vanguard. From among them, call the reveal it, and put it into your hand and discard the rest. So it helps you pretty much discard mill 4. That's all the reasons is just mill 4. Add 1, mill 4. It's pretty good. Next up, we're running 1 copy of Overcoming an Unnatural Death. Play this card with Con +1. Bind this card. Choose up to 2 normal orders from your drop zone and onto your hand. This helps you recycle your order cards if they're stuck in the drop zone for whatever reason. Or you have too many drops you want to add to your hand. It's for that reason. 1 Mythic Habitat to look at top 7 cards of your deck and choose a card from among them. And call it the Vanguard to call it the rear guard circle if it's less than equal to your Vanguard. This is her board presence. 1 Command of Death's Restraints, which is discard the top card of your deck and choose a card with grade less than or equal to your Vanguard. From drop zone, call it the regular circle if it's a unit card, and put it to your hand if it's a normal order, and not named itself. So if you want to add any of your orders back to your hand, you can do that off this card, or you can just mail any callback any 1 unit. Running 1 copy of Gather Upon Me, You Want Your Souls. Play this card with discard an order card. choose one of your vanguards. It gets draw +1 at the end of turn, which is really good for Zorga, since you can spam this card a lot. You have Bound, and you have 2 orders in hand. You can keep playing this over and over and over again. Next up is Death Inviting Black Magic. This card is, I don't really see this card being used, but I like it since, especially with this deck, I can kind of get my bind zone up pretty high and have to pay the cost for it. But you play, you reduce this card's combos for each card in your bind zone. And we play this card with combo plus 4 to draw 2 cards, but normally you have 4 cards in your bind zone anyways. So normally it's like if you just draw 2. It's just Pile of Greed. We're running 1 copy of Flies, Fill the Skies, or Brand of Corpses. You play this card if you have a Vanguard with Zorga and its card name and Divine Skill. You choose one of your Vanguards. It gets continuous Vanguard Circle. At the end, all of your rear guards placed this turn, from drop this turn get power plus 5k at the end of turn. Since most of the units are being placed from drop zone, they're all getting plus 5k, so you're getting a plus like 25k for every single one of your rear guards, which is pretty cool. And the last order card in the deck is Call Miasma. You play this card with combo plus 1. You choose a grade 3 or less card in your drop zone. Call it the Regular Circle. If this card is part of Alchemy Magic, you choose one of your Vanguards. It gets continuous Vanguard Circle. All your four rear guards get power plus 5k at every turn. So just plus mini Persona Riot thing. Which is pretty funny. That's all the orders. We're running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 order cards. I see people run like 12 to 13. I find 8 to be just enough. So I don't see them planning on changing it. For the trigger lineup, running 4 Abyss Temptation and 3 Peppery Peppers. It's supposed to be a 4th pepper, but I don't have one, so we're running 8 critical triggers because criticals are helping win game. We're running 3 fronts. These are supposed to be soul fronts. I just don't have them, so these are going to be soul fronts if I ever get soul fronts. So you want to run those because you need soul sometimes, and soul kind of helps you win the game because you tend to run out of soul with this deck, surprisingly. I don't know why, but I tend to run out of soul pretty heavily with this deck. Running 4 heal triggers, and then 1 copy of Blessed Favor. Add that over trigger since it's the best over trigger in the game, in my opinion, outside of Brain Gate. But it's a really good over trigger. But yeah, that's it for my Zorga deck profile. I really do like Zorga. Zorga is really fun to play. I didn't like Zorga originally since I wanted a Grand Blue deck, and Zorga just wasn't it until Divine Zorga came out, and I was like, I'm building Divine Zorga, so I like Divine Zorga. But yeah, that's all I got for Zorga. Let me know what any changes you make to the deck and what you think of my deck profile. I'm always thinking of ways to change the deck up, so if you have ideas or ways I can do that, let me know. I will be building the Zorga Phantom deck whenever it comes out, so look forward to that as well. But that's all I got for now, so until next time, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, have the video up to get the channel out to more people. And until next time, this is Jackson, signing out.